A few weeks ago, a team of us went to Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico, drove down, flew there to California and drove down to Mexico to be able to share a week with a family in Mexico, being able to build a home for them. And so Ken and Paige, Paige is my wife, Ken's my friend, we were able to do that. And these guys are sharing on behalf of our entire team. And so Paige, I know, went in 2002, which was kind of the first year that I met Paige, way back then. What was different or what was special about this trip for you from the last time that you were able to go?
Well, this time I got to go as an adult, serving with other, mostly adults, but not as a chaperone. I've done so many mission trips as a chaperone, and back in 2002 I was a student, and so I got to do the same type thing all these years later, but just get to connect with people from our church in a different way that I really didn't anticipate having that opportunity until, we started this series and Aaron challenged us all to go, and I've always used the student trips as my opportunity to go serve, but it was just awesome to go with a bunch of people who just decided that they wanted to do the same thing, and it wasn't as a chaperone. And so getting to use our hands and our skills, or lack thereof, to put this house together was just an awesome thing to do alongside new friends, old friends, people that we've gotten to know, and just serve the city in that way. It was awesome.
Awesome. Ken, there's a good story that you'll share in just a moment about how, to some degree, you kind of came up with a theme verse for our team. Can you share that story about how that happened?
Yeah, so for several years, Kevin Clement has been going on this trip, and so I think he's the one who initiated the practice of taking a Bible that we would give to the family that was there, for whom we built the house. And so this year he was asking us, what verse do you want to put in the Bible that we're going to give to this family? And so what came to mind after some thought was, the bottom line of the goats and sheep, the story of goats and the sheep, in which Jesus says, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. But I didn't know what the reference was. You can't just say, well, the goats and the sheep, and especially because of the language barrier. So Kevin hands me his Bible, and he says, well, look it up. And so I opened the Bible, and it doesn't open. I did later find out that it's Matthew 25:40, in case any of you were wondering. But in fact, the Bible opens to Psalm 127, verse 1. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. And that has meaning on so many levels. Clearly, we were building a house, and it was there serving as God's hands and feet. But it's not just what God was doing with us or through us, but what God was doing in us. And you'll see in the video in a moment this lady for whom we were building the house praying in Spanish, and I ask that you pay special attention to the words, the translation that's on the bottom of the screen, because she was praying for us and for us. So it was a really cool thing, unless God builds the house, we labor in vain. So.
Amen. Paige, what encouragement would you share with a church body that's listening to you now about this trip, about this encounter?
You should all go. That's my encouragement. And just to take part in any sort of opportunity that Rising has, whether it's this mission trip or any mission trip, you might think that it's not for you, it's just for our students or whatever, but I also thought that. I also didn't think that mission trips were something that I might do just with my husband rather than with a group of students. And so I think everyone, it's just so awesome. It's an awesome experience. When Stuart and I spent a few days in San Diego before the trip, and we had one of our Lyft drivers was from Tijuana, or he called it TJ, so that's like what the locals call it. And we told him what we were about to go do in a few days, and he just said, "Thank you for investing in my city." And it was like, it just sort of this moment for me that this is a good use of my time, you know, that I took off work and everything else, but that we were able to build something for this family who they had a shop and they were living like in the back of the shop, and we were able to build this home for them right next to it that they could have plenty of space for all of them. And so my encouragement is just to go and to sign up and be part of everything that Rising has to offer, because it's all worthwhile and it's an investment, and you get to see the city and you get to see a different side of life and a perspective, and it's just really fun. Like, we had a great time.
Awesome.